Hey everyone, this is Laura Mignott from D-Flash. I'm super excited to have a fantastic conversation with Eric Ries and Joe Wilson, two of the founders of the C19 Coalition. And we're going to jump right in. So guys, it's been a year. Tell us, what made you start C19 Coalition?
Well, it was no master plan, let me tell you. We were, ordinary citizens. We both come from the tech industry, minding our own business when the pandemic hit. And for a variety of reasons, both of us got pulled into some of the early relief efforts, especially around the lack of PPE, but also issues in education and equity, food security, masks in the early days, like a lot of different causes that were popping up, trying to fill in the civic gaps due to the failure of leadership that was happening in our country around the time of the pandemic breaking. And we really saw just how unprepared we were as a society to deal with something like this that has both such dramatically bad health outcomes, but also such unequal outcomes across many of our communities. And so we started to work with a bunch of the different actors who were trying to make a difference. So we were working with other pop-up nonprofit groups that were flooding into the zone to try to figure out how they could help, but also reaching out to folks in traditional industry and even with state, local, and national governments to see, hey, could we act as a coordinating body to try and bring people together to try to make, not to solve the pandemic, maybe that's too big, but just to fight inequities wherever we could find them and make things a little bit better.
Awesome. And Joe, what brought you into this universe of C19?
I mean, it was a lot of the same things. I think that when Eric and I started this, we kind of framed it as, hey, it's a weekend project. And then it was, let's try to wrap this up in a month. And then it was, I guess we'll go through the summer. And before we knew it, we were a year in. And I think throughout it, our focus just, it kept shifting a little bit. It stayed within kind of the same broad parameters, but we kept discovering subjects and people and communities who were impacted by the pandemic in different ways. And at first it was very basic. It was getting personal protective equipment to them and helping them get access to food. And then over time, it became more nuanced and it became much more of a local initiative, doing things like helping facilitate large donations. At the end of last year, actually, we helped facilitate a 5 million mask donation to the city of Los Angeles to provide to schools, to testing sites, as well as the Department of Transportation for people who, are taking the bus every day and may not have access to personal protective equipment. So, it's been interesting to see the evolution, and especially now that hopefully we're heading towards the end of the pandemic with some of the vaccination efforts. Fingers crossed. But it's been a humbling experience. But I think the C19 Coalition has really been able to help a lot of people in a lot of communities over the last year.
Yeah, and so I love you guys to talk about that because it's, there were a lot of different organizations that popped up right as everything was, on fire last year. And they kind of popped up and then popped away. But C19 has stayed for the past year and continues to go and continues to innovate, which is also why we're doing the fundraiser of NBA TopShots. Like, what made you all stay?
Well, I feel like one of the things that has been so abundantly clear in the pandemic is that this is a global problem that requires everyone to be part of the fight. So I actually have been very discouraged to see folks, decide that this is somebody else's job to solve this problem, or because somebody else didn't do their job, then they don't have to do anything. So I kind of view our role as been to just be a consistent voice to say everyone can play a role. There's something everybody can do, large or small, whether you're in private industry or government or a nonprofit or just an ordinary citizen, there's something you can do. And I will say, like, to me, this has been the ultimate light in dark places, to see, we have many, many member organizations in the C19 Coalition, and to see the ways that they have found to help people has been incredibly inspiring. And some of it is like big and dramatic and, billions of units of PPE is really exciting, but some of it is also really small and very touching, an individual nursing home or an individual hospice care center that couldn't get PPE that we were able to get, help arrange for them to get, supplies that they critically needed. And I'll also say one other thing, which is the pandemic has changed and evolved. And yet each new phase of it, I feel like as a society, we go in with amnesia. Like we didn't remember what happened in the previous phase. So we have a wave, people get restrictive and they're more protective, and then the numbers start to come down and we celebrate too early and then we drive the numbers back up. So we kind of oscillate back and forth. And so to me, for me personally, this has played a kind of a stabilizing role to say like, no, there's a consistent through line here, which is to take what we've learned, every best practice we learned in one phase, and apply it to the next and the next and the next. And hopefully, we're not only setting the stage for the next thing to happen with this pandemic to get better at it, but also preserving these best practices and figuring out what do we need to do for our society to be better prepared for the crises of the future.
Awesome. Yeah, and it's, as a coalition, we really are all about our partner organizations. And if we can play a role behind the scenes, that's typically where we like to live. Early on, it was groups like Operation Mask and large corporations like Flexport and Cardinal Health that were helping get PPE to those that needed it. As the pandemic evolved, with vaccinations, it's been groups like Healthvana and frankly, even the White House Task Force, who has been able to play a critical role and joins our town halls on a monthly basis to understand where the pain points are across the country. So for us, we like to think of ourselves as a gathering place, and if a partner needs help, we like to work behind the scenes to make them realize their vision.
Awesome. It's not about all the accolades, it's about doing the great work. And speaking of that, so even though you guys have been behind the scenes, what's coming up on April 15th is actually a little more of a coming out party, because we're going to be partnering with NBA TopShots to do a virtual fundraiser on Twitch and hopefully raise some great amount of cash for our Sunday Supper program. So we'd love you guys to kind of talk about that and why you think it's the future of where we're headed.
Well, I love NBA TopShots, so I'm excited. I'm excited just because I think it's a really cool, very innovative thing, and and I love the NBA. But I think, for what I'm excited about, yeah, we don't normally operate in front of the camera. I don't know that we've even ever done a video like this about C19 Coalition. We generally just tend to be connecting partner organizations and letting them have the limelight. But I'm excited. I feel like this is such a great and unique moment for the public to stand up and be counted, and for ordinary people to say, no, this isn't over. Like, it's just because some people are vaccinated, some people have been able to, to work from home, some people have been insulated from this, a lot of people haven't. And we're one society. Pandemics, one of the things that it really shows is how we are all deeply interconnected. And so I just thought the idea of being able to do a fundraiser where so many different people from different walks of life could come together and say, here's something that's unequivocally good, that unequivocally helps all of us by helping those who are the most in need. That seemed like something worth supporting and even worth coming in front of the camera.
Yeah, and I think that, as institutions continue to evolve, I think it's exciting to start to utilize new platforms and see what opportunities they bring in. And TopShots has clearly developed a new way of interacting with the world. And to be one of the first or the first organization to leverage that platform to potentially help a fantastic cause is a really cool thing. And I'd love to continue doing it going forward.
It's in keeping with what we've seen with a number of sports figures and celebrities like stepping up their leadership during the pandemic. You think about Eat, Learn, Play and the work that they've done, with food and food insecurity at a tremendous scale, bigger than some governmental actors. And I just think that's part of the privilege and responsibility of leadership in our society. And I think we sometimes kind of separate out leadership. It's just our political leaders or it's just our business leaders. And it's like, no, everyone who has prominence, who has the public's attention, everyone who's a celebrity or an influencer, as they say, like anyone who has that platform also has the responsibility to do something with it. And it's been great to see people from the sports world and others step up and do the right thing here.
Yeah, and it's going to be, I think because we've grounded it into something that everyone can understand. So the idea of a Sunday supper where let's bring some dignity back to the process of getting vaccinated or getting tested, and not just thinking, oh, walk up, drive up, get your arm shot or, get your nose swabbed, but actually, how do we reinvent that experience? So again, it's grounded in dignity. So like you get a free meal. And that's made by local restaurants. You're helping the local community. You're going to get tested. In some places, we'll be able to do vaccinations in the communities of color that need it. Because I think, kind of what you guys were both saying, that there's still this weird disparity where people think, well, I've got a mask, so everyone else has a mask. And like, yeah, no, they don't. And I think that's one of the things that's been so wonderful in working with you guys at C19 is that we've really gotten down to like, 100 masks makes a difference to a community in rural Arkansas. And like 50 masks makes a whole lot of help to folks who are in a smaller homeless shelter in New Jersey. And those things are so tangible and fungible. So, I think that's part of the reason that we're so excited to work with NBA TopShots, because we can create these experiences in communities that need them and then see the immediate impact. You're going to see people be able to go get your PPE, get your vaccination, get your shot. And it doesn't feel like, a military installation. It's a community-driven experience. And I think those sorts of experiences are what we can kind of hopefully reimagine as we come out of this, that we rebuild what community looks like and what it feels like. So we don't go back to being so selfish that we were previously, but we actually do work together and make the world a better place.
Well, Laura, I think you also deserve an incredible amount of credit, not just for this event, but for your leadership throughout the pandemic, helping us see the ways in which we can bring communities together and to paint that vision of a more equitable and more inclusive future, for every crisis to come. I think that will be your legacy. So we really thank you.
Oh, thanks, Eric. So any final thoughts from you guys? So it's April 15th. It'll be 7 p.m. Eastern time on the NBA TopShots Twitch live stream. Folks will be able to watch as we open packs and hopefully raise a truckload of money.
Fantastic. Well, I mean, we're both extremely excited for the event, and we're looking forward to being engaged and really running with this partnership.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to everybody in advance who's going to be participating and donating and be part of it. Thanks for helping us innovate and pioneer a new form of community, a new form of philanthropy. Hopefully this is the first of many cool things to come. So thank you.
Awesome. So for more information, check out shotsforshots.org, and you'll see all the information about what the fundraiser is going to look like. And we invite you all to take a look, donate, and continue to connect with C19 Coalition. It's a fantastic organization that I'm honored to be a part of. And Eric and Joe, I know it was hard to get you guys all together, so I'm super psyched that we were able to make this happen. So thank you guys again.
Thanks for making it happen.